Legends of Tomorrow, episode 11, and apparently we're almost done. Like, I can't believe Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman only got 13 episodes this season. That is crazy. I'm not used to this. I'm used to the 20, the 20 to 20, the 18 to 22, 23. Shoot, when Arrow and Flash first came out, Arrow and Flash, they were getting 23 episodes. Well, Legends never really got that much anyway. The most Legends ever got, I think, was about 18. Even with Black Lightning, I think Black Lightning got like 16 or 17 episodes one time. But it's weird. Like, it's very weird that like both of these shows are about to end, and I feel like they just started. But it's your boy Icon with some DC TV, and we're going over Legends of Tomorrow: The Rage Against the Machines. So, in our last episode, we saw that, Sarah had succeeded in stopping the fix point. She changed the fix point, which called the evil Gideon and the evil robots over to where they are to try to fix the timeline and try to reset everything. So the Legends met them, and the plan was for them to ambush the robots and take back the Wave Rider. Now, unfortunately, Gideon and not Constantine, the doctor, they were still at the bar. They were inside the bar. And they ended up telling everybody at the bar that an evil group of time-traveling cops, so to speak, they've arrived to try to stop, to try to kill the Legends, because they changed the timeline. So that made everybody in the bar, because these are time travelers, that their whole goal was to actually change this fixed point. So they were just like, we're not going to let these people, even the Dumbledore guy that owned the bar, he was just like, I'm not going to let some robots tell me how time history is supposed to go. So the entire bar ends up leaving the bar, and they confronted the Wave Rider when the robots got out. So Sarah and the rest of the gang, they're hiding behind the trees. And then they're just like, yeah, as soon as that door opens, whoever comes out of it, we're going to take them out, because there's nobody that can stop the Legends, because, we're awesome and there's nobody who can beat us. And then when the doors opened, they saw that it was themselves. And they're just like, well, nobody can beat us but us. But then the group from the bar, they came out. And when they came out to basically confront the Legends killed all of them. The robot Legends killed everybody. They killed Dumbledore. They killed the black dude. They killed the alien. They killed everybody, to the point where, and it was Behrad who his robot character was the one killing the most people. And that kind of like bugged him out, seeing him, because again, like, he sees himself. It's like watching him kill people, it kind of freaked him out. So he ran over, to the robots. He exposed the team, and he was just like, stop killing people. And then when the robots saw them, then they took aim at the Legends and they tried to kill the Legends. During that whole thing, Ava got shot in the shoulder, so Ava was down for the count. And I think in the last episode, well, not the last episode, but the episode with the robots, because the Sarah Lance robot was the one that kind of like broke free from like the mind control that, evil Gideon was doing. And then at the end of the episode, they ended up giving her like an upgrade to reset her mind and reset her thoughts. I think they muted her, because Robot Sarah did not speak throughout the entire episode. She just fought, she killed, and that was it. They even said Robot Nate was the captain, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy. So like I said, so Ava got shot, the whole team ran, and they hid inside the mirror and went back into the bar. Evil Gideon, at that point, she tells her Legends, the robot Legends, she said, listen, search out, try to find the Legends and kill them, and kill every time traveler that doesn't belong in this particular time period. Now, that's unfortunate, because Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, he was one of the people who existed in that time period. And when the robots, it was actually Robot Sarah that found him. Because the thing is, like, I guess like Sarah's 40 minutes was up. So Thawne ended up telling the guy who originally shot the Duke, he gave him a gun, and he told him, he was like, go out there and carry out your, like your destiny of killing the Duke. So he killed the Archduke, history was back on track. And then when Robot Sarah came around the corner, like Thawne saw her, and he was just like, hey, like history's back on track, had the whole thing go with the Wave Rider. And then Robot Sarah walked up and basically stabbed and killed Eobard Thawne. And I didn't even think he could die, because he was brought back, due to the dark flashes, and they said like the dark flashes rehabilitated him. So I didn't think he could die, but he could die. And it was Robot Sarah who killed him. Actual Sarah showed up at the last second, and then she tried to get him help, and then he was just like, no, it's too late for me. And then he gave her his time watch, and he said, just like you promised, it's your burden and your responsibility now. So now Sarah has to deal with the burden of now becoming the protector of the fix point, but she's not going to tell the team yet, obviously. She's going to try to carry out the mission, and then she'll wait and tell them at a more appropriate time. She definitely did not tell Ava. And they got Ava off the show this episode. Like Ava's presence was not felt in this episode at all. I don't know what happened, but her role was extremely limited. Sarah at that point, she was like, look, she said that we can't fight them because they're too strong. She said, she said the craziest idea that we got at this point, she was just like, if I can bargain with them, maybe we can convince them to let us go home, and then, they can go on to like doing the timeline thing or whatever, and then we can be okay. So of course the team thought she was completely crazy for for wanting to reason with the robots. But she's the captain, so they listened to the captain. Gideon even said that she could probably help with the negotiations, and then Astra immediately shut that down and told Gideon to go to her room, and then everybody went back into the key and they went back into the pocket dimension. Robot Behrad, he followed the legends because after Ava got shot, he followed the legends into the mirror. When he went into the mirror, he was going to shoot Gideon, and then Astra came out of nowhere and blasted him. And she basically blasted him, like burnt his CPU. So Sarah took his comm because they still had him on the floor. Sarah took his comm. She contacted the robot legends. She said, listen, meet me at the bar because we need to talk. So then when they showed up, she was just like, listen, she said, like, we don't want to fight. We just want to go home. Robot Nate was like, no, he was like, it's my job, to protect, like to kill you because that's what Gideon told us to do. And then at that point, like the doctor, he had came out, to try to talk to Sarah Lance. But, Sarah told him, she was like, go back in the mirror and let me do what I got to do. But then when the talking didn't work and Robot Sarah and Robot Nate actually tried to kill Sarah, Sarah ended up in the place where the mirror was. And then since, the doctor was actually there because he was hiding around the corner, he grabbed Sarah and he dragged her back in. Now, the robots weren't smart enough to realize they jumped in the mirror. They just thought Sarah magically disappeared. And then Gideon was just like, oh, search the grounds and find the legends and let's get history back on track. So Sarah now, she's a little dejected, like she's kind of upset because she's just like, listen, she's like, I can't protect my team. I can't get everybody home. And then that's when the doctor, he was just like, oh, but you're the captain. And he's like, that's what the general does. It rallies the troops even at the most darkest of times. And then that's when Sarah, she was just like, well, you were actually in war. She's like, you have more war experience, more combat experience, than any of us. So she said, if you were me as a former military person, what would you do? And then that's when it was his time to shine. He got everybody together and he devised a plan to basically divide and conquer. They had Behrad dress up, like Robot Behrad. He took a certain team of legends into the key, and his job was to bring the key onto the Wave Rider, pretend to be the robot, so this way that group of legends can sneak aboard the Wave Rider and they can pick off the robots that are still there. Now, he told another team of Sarah, Nate, and Spooner to stay behind and basically create a distraction to get another group of robots to chase them. And then they were just like, well, what kind of distraction? And then he said, well, disrupt the timeline. So they ended up getting tech from, I don't know where they got the tech from, like random places. I guess they got it from the bar because there was time travelers that were there in the bar. So they go out into the town and they start showing people like robot machines and robot toys. Somebody like Spooner had given someone a VR machine, and then because they were introducing technology to a time period that didn't have technology, that immediately brought the legends, like the robot legends. They were basically like neuralizing everybody, like erasing everybody's memory, and they were looking for the legends at the same time. Spooner was the only smart one. God, I love me some Spooner. Spooner was the only smart one that was able to trick her robot because she bumped into robot Gary and she tricked robot Gary into making him believe that she was the robot. Gary ended up killing robot Spooner because he thought that our Spooner was the robot. But then robot Spooner had grenades on her. So after robot Gary ate robot Spooner, the grenades went off and blew up robot Gary. And Spooner just single-handedly took 2 robots off the board and she didn't even do anything. Behrad came up with an idea because he was talking to Astra and he was talking to Gary. And then Gary had this elixir that I guess like makes people, like hurl in one way or out the other. And, Robot Behrad introduced that. Now, I'm like, they're robots. This can't work, but I guess they're organic robots. It's basically a laxative. Let's just call it what it is. Behrad gives Robot Astra's fine ass and Robot Ava the elixir that, that Gary had given him. And then he took the key and he opened the pocket dimension in the bathroom. So when the two of them ran to the bathroom due to the laxative, they ended up in the pocket dimension. and then Gary was able to, like trick them and push them out into the fires of hell, which I thought was pretty funny. Robot Zari was actually catching on to everything because she thought something was peculiar because everybody was acting weird. And then they told like real Zari that she has to dress up like Robot Zari and infiltrate the Wave Rider. But then Robot Zari discovered the pocket dimension, and when Robot Zari went into the pocket dimension, she bumped into real Zari, and the two of them got into the funniest fight of all time. Because the funny thing about our Zari and the funny thing about Robot Zari, neither one of them can fight. And they were doing like the worst slap bot. It was so bad. It was hilariously bad. It was like the girliest fight of all time. And but then Arzari proved that she actually does have a little toughness in her, and she she removed the CPU from Robot Zari, so now we got another robot down. So then now that those three robots were out of the picture, Astra Zari and Bayrod, they snuck back onto the Wave Rider, dressed, like imitating the robots, and they gave Zari a kill code because she's the only one that's allowed to, to work on Gideon. They gave Zari a kill code, that she can type in to shut down Gideon. But because she was acting weird and she didn't know anything about computers, Gideon realized that she was a fake right out the gate, which basically gave Zari no other choice but just to pull the plug out and shut Gideon down altogether. After she shut Gideon down, Bayrod called the rest of the team and he was like, hey guys, we got the Wave Rider, so come on board. But that's when Sarah decided to tell them about the whole thing with her taking Thawne's place. And then she was just like, you guys go on without me, tell Ava I love her. And then they were just like, no, they was like, we're not going to abandon you. Because at that moment, the robot legend, well, the remaining robot legends of Nate and Sarah, they came back into the bar and they were going to confront the legends and try to find them. So they figured there's only a matter of time before they find out about the mirror. So Sarah was just going to go out there and confront them and give everybody else time to get away. But then, like Spooner, Nate, and the doctor, they ended up coming back outside because they were just like, listen, we're not going to leave you. We're not going to leave you to fight and do this all by yourself. Astra, who again was basically being mean to Gideon throughout the entire episode, she wasn't letting Gideon help out with the plan. She came up with the idea of letting our Gideon pretend to be evil Gideon and instruct the robots to remove their own CPUs. Because at that point, Gary had spoke to her and he was just like, listen, you're just being overprotective because you're kind of like her mom. And then she was like, I'm not her mom. And then he's just like, no, you are. He's like, you gave her life, you're her mom. So you're just being overprotective, but you got to let the eagle soar, like spread its wings and soar. So she came up with the idea of using Gideon to imitate fake Gideon. But then after that, that's when Sarah was just like, well, I have to go now because I have to do the time carrier thing and I have to protect the fixed point. And then Nate, surprisingly, he comes up with the idea. He took the time watch from Sarah. He put the CPU back into the robot Nate, and he convinced and tricked the robot Nate into protecting the fixed point and taking Thawne's place instead of Sarah. So that worked. They left Robot Sarah right there on the floor, and everybody all got back on the ship. After Astra had spoke to Gideon, she told Gideon to go back into the pocket dimension and tell Ava, to come back on, because they got the Wave Rider back. Gideon went back into the pocket dimension. Apparently, Robot Astra pulled herself out of the depths of hell somehow because she was all like burnt up and everything. She snuck back into the house and she stabbed Gideon in the back right before she malfunctioned and shut down. And then she fell on the floor, and then you had Robot Gideon and you had Astra looking each other face to face before the robot eventually passed out. And I'm just like, how you gonna stab Gideon at the last second? So that's how the episode ended. The episode ended with Gideon getting stabbed, and I was just like, that's crazy. A lot of people died in this. A lot of people died in this episode. It was kind of crazy, but like I said, that was it, and thank you for tuning in. So we got 2 episodes left, which is crazy to me. 2 episodes left for Legends of Tomorrow. And let's say Gideon's been stabbed. And the thing is, they can use Gideon. They can use evil Gideon. They can use the Wave Rider to repair Gideon, to colonize or fix her wound or her stab wound or whatever. But the problem is, evil Gideon's not going to do it. So they're gonna have to come up with a way to convince evil Gideon to save our Gideon. Otherwise, she's gonna die. And I think that's what we're gonna do now. It's gonna be a race to try to save Gideon. But we'll see. We'll definitely see what happens. Share your thoughts down below. Like, this was actually a very good episode. Like, it was done very well. It was put together in a good way. It's sad that they killed Thawne, but a lot of the characters are starting to step up and they're starting to shine. They even said that the Doctor now, he's an official legend, and I'm just like, so are we not gonna get Constantine back? But for all we know, that probably is Constantine in disguise. But share your thoughts down below about what you think about the episode. What do you think about where things are gonna go in the final 2 episodes? And we shall talk about it. Hit me up on on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram, as always, on YouTube, where you can share your questions, comments, and or concerns. Because as I said, we got the 2-week break. You know, like all the shows are on a break now. But when we come back, we got 2 episodes of Legend left. And we're going to ride it all the way to the end because we still got Batwoman, we still got Superman and Lois, we still got Naomi, and we still got Peacemaker. Thanks for tuning in, guys. So until next time, for some Legends action, take care. Watch out for those evil robots. Until next time, I'm out this bitch.